has been 1 year since my last music festival. I cry. So in today's episode of Let's Vibe Podcast, I'm sharing my takeaways and learnings from a year without music festivals. So without further ado, let's vibe into today's episode. Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had another podcast planned. This is sounding like a broken record, you guys. I went to go edit the podcast that was supposed to be up today, and the footage with the guest and the audio with the guest is just nowhere to be found. So it's all good. Maybe that message wasn't supposed to get out there. Maybe it's supposed to be worded differently. So her and I are going to refilm it and redo it. So I apologize for that. You're going to get a little impromptu episode because I had a moment of freak out realizing that this officially has been 1 year since I last attended a music festival. I've attended some COVID-safe live events, so I can't say it's been my last time since hearing live music, but it's been my last time since attending a music festival and having some normalcy there. It's crazy looking back on that year. So I just wanted to talk about what I learned from a year without music festivals. But first, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, follow the podcast at Let's Vibe Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. I am so grateful for all your guys' support on the podcast. And if you feel like sharing this with a friend today, posting it to your Instagram story, I would greatly appreciate it. As for the next episode I want to talk about festival season 2021. So this episode's kind of like a looking back episode that we're going through today, but I want to talk about moving forward. What are your thoughts about festival season 2021? Do you feel safe going to a festival? Do you feel safe traveling? Do you feel safe if the state is open and has health procedures and guidelines for a festival? Would you go? Abu Dhabi has announced that their festival is moving forward. EDC sounds like it's going to happen. So I want to know your thoughts about it. Feel free to email your thoughts at hello@vibewith8.com, whatever you think. And I'm just curious what you are thinking, and I will be sharing my thoughts and everything like that. I'll also be posting to my Instagram story to get some feedback as well. I'll be doing like some polls and questions. So if you want to wait and submit your feedback that way, you can do it that way, or you can email me hello@vibewith8.com. So just wanted to get that out there to get ready for the next episode coming up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. And then hopefully I can re-record with that guest and get that out as well, because it was a really fun episode. So we just need to redo it, which is unfortunate, but it's all good. It's all good. So to kick off today's episode, we always start off with a vibe check. This is my way of checking in with you guys. So what we'll do is we're going to take some deep breaths. We're going to ask some questions, and we're going to check in and everything. So what we'll do is we'll take 3 deep breaths. So inhale the first one in and exhale it back out. Second one in. And exhale it back out. Last one in. And exhale it back out. Then I'll ask the following questions, and you can think in your head, journal, whatever feels good. How am I feeling today? Do I like this feeling? What could this feeling be trying to teach me? What could make today better, or is there a need to? What are 3 things I'm grateful for today? What could I affirm for myself today, or a goal I can set for myself? Now, I'll go ahead and share how I'm feeling, and you can ponder these questions. You can journal them, whatever feels good to you. So today, I'm feeling pretty good. It's Sunday. I'm getting ahead on some work, which feels really great. I'm excited for the week ahead. I had a really good Saturday. I've been having some really good days lately. Honestly, March has been really great to me. I don't know what it is with the energy here. I've heard no planets are in retrograde, so that's probably it too. But ever since the full moon and March 1st came, we've just been feeling really good. So I just want to keep that feeling going. Do I like this feeling? Yes, we're feeling good. This feeling, what could this feeling be trying to teach me? That we're doing what we can to feel good and it's working. What could make today better, or is there a need to? You know, I didn't get upset about the podcast just disappearing. that was supposed to be for today. I am really proud of myself for that. I was like freaking out trying to scramble and do this episode, but everything happens for a reason. So maybe that wasn't the message we wanted to get out. So maybe we'll get a second chance at doing it. I did really like that episode. So hopefully we'll be able to recreate it, and if not, make it better, So 3 things I'm grateful for today. It has officially been 1 month of self-employment, you guys, and I'm so happy and proud of myself for doing it. I had like a moment of gratitude this past week of like, wow, like I'm really, really doing this. Like it kind of took a while to set in because the first month was just like craziness of just like figuring out my schedule, figuring out like where I'm going to pull money from and like all this kind of stuff, and getting my coaching business set up, getting freelancing set up, like all that stuff. But it feels so good. So I'm so glad I did it, and I'm so grateful for making that choice. Number 2, the season of life I'm in, I'm grateful for. Like I said, March is feeling really good. So I just like want to keep on enjoying that energy. Number 3, I'm grateful for myself. At the end of the day, always grateful for me because we were doing the damn thing. As for an affirmation, honestly, I was going to grab the butterfly deck, but really I've just been saying I am safe a lot. I've been dealing with some trauma, I guess, a little bit from the snowstorm still. If you guys listened to last week's podcast episode, you'd hear that, but it's been a little tough going to bed at night. I think I got used to either sleeping next to Chase or just having someone there. So I've been having a little bit of difficulty falling asleep. I'm not trying to like rely on like melatonin or anything like that, but I've been having some difficulties falling asleep. And so I just have been repeating to myself, I am safe, I'm good, and like reminding myself that. So if you're feeling a little uneasy just from like the pandemic or whatever you're going through, maybe that can be helpful for you. I just keep on saying I am safe. I keep reminding myself that. So it's always hard because like I can still view the apartment that caught on fire like right across the way. So I think that's also tripping me up a little bit. So I just keep on reminding myself that I am safe. So that is it for this week's vibe check. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the rest of the episode. This episode is brought to you guys by The Stage. So for those that don't know, stagehoppers.com is a one-stop EDM central hub for vloggers, podcasters, content creators, tour footage, so much more. If you love EDM and music festivals and you want to find other creators in this space, definitely go check out Stage Hoppers. My podcast, Let's Vibe Podcast, is on there. Festival Tales Podcast, my other podcast, is on there. My YouTube channel is on there. So you can go to that website and check it out and see other creators on there like Babs Life, Party Over Everything, Beyond the Beat, Steps Up FBI, all in one spot. So if you want to support us, feel free to go to that website and check it out for yourself. There's always new content to be checked out. So definitely bookmark it and visit it whenever. And you can also follow at Stage Hoppers on Instagram. Tons of content there. So I absolutely love working with them. But thank you to The Stage for having me be a part of this. So without further ado, let's vibe back into today's episode. So I am feeling personally victimized by my Snapchat memories and my Instagram archives because it has been a year since I went to Cross Music Festival. And it's crazy looking back at that timeline because it really started with I met Chase at Noizu. That was like February 21st or something. And then I went to Arizona for a wedding, and then I went to Cross. I came back. I went to Carl Cox, which was my last show, like normal show. And then I went on a date with Chase. And then the day after I went on that date with Chase, the shelter in place happened. So it's crazy to see that progression. But just having that realization of it's been a year without music festivals is just so crazy. I've still been able to go to COVID safe shows. So I can't say it's my year without live music because I've had some form of it, even though if it wasn't necessarily normal, but it has been a year without music festivals. And I've talked about this before, but at the start of 2020, when I was looking at my calendar for 2020 of like all the festivals I wanted to attend, I did have this feeling of like, am I going to be able to pull this off? Like money wise, time wise, like all these things. And I almost had a moment of like, no, I don't think I can pull this off. This is a lot. Like, what if I just took the whole year off to save money, to figure out what I wanted to do about like being self-employed? Like, what if I just took the whole year off? Not to say I jinxed it, because I did not jinx it. I did not plan for a pandemic to happen. But that's what I got, you know. I got a year without festivals to save money and figure out my stuff, basically. So I really wanted to talk about the lessons I've learned, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about where I think our community and the scene stands after a year without music festivals, and then I want to talk about moving forward, because we've gotten some positive news lately, so I want to talk a little bit about that, and that will also kind of lead into the next podcast that we have about, you know, how we're all feeling about festival season 2021, if it's coming back, not coming back, and all of that. So to start, lessons I've learned. So the main thing is finding happiness elsewhere. Because I used to view music festivals as my time to just disconnect for a weekend, enjoy some music, be goofy, dress however I want, dress however I want, express myself however I want, and just have a good time. Those weekends were like my boost in life, because I would do that and then I would feel okay to go back to work until the next one. You know, it was just always something to look forward to. So I really had to find that happiness elsewhere. And I've talked about this in, I think, the 2020 recap episode. Really had to find the happiness in the mundane, had to find the happiness in my routine, had to find the happiness like within myself, basically, because I wasn't going to get it from external things with like festivals and stuff like that. So I really had to find other ways to find joy and spend that time. I really tried to not get down about there not being festivals. I was very adamant in accepting our reality, basically, just because when you come from a place of resistance, it hurts a hell of a lot more than when you come from a place of acceptance. And that's with anything. That's why they tell you, like, whenever you're feeling those emotions, feel it out. Like, if you gotta cry, you gotta cry, because it hurts a lot more to hold it in. So that's what I was having, that perspective, is just like, all right, this is where we're at. Let's like figure it out. Let's just like keep staying consistent with content. Let's like do what we can. Oh, we want to do a shuffle challenge? Like, hell yeah, let's do a shuffle challenge. Like, let's try out different things. Let's focus on our health. Let's focus on like saving money and like stuff like that. So I really tried to find happiness elsewhere and just enjoy the day as it came. I mean, it still sucked. Like, I definitely got like locked in syndrome, I feel like, of like not having anywhere to go, and like not the panic of like not having a vacation to go anywhere and like stuff like that. But I'd say that was like my number one lesson, was just finding hobbies, finding other things to fill my time with that made me happy. I would also say feeling good is another thing that came out of that. I learned that from Maddie Maple, was just to like do whatever the fuck you want so that you can feel good. And like prioritizing how good you feel. There were some times where I was in a very low vibration, and then just focusing on how I can feel good really, really helped me out of that to raise my vibration. So the next one was focusing on what I can do. So that was also very hard. It's like, well, I can't go out to shows. I can't go out to festivals. I can't even leave my house. Like, so what can I do? And so it really made me be in control of, you know, my own reality of just like, okay, well, what I can do is I can, you know, try and step up and do these YouTube live streams. I can do more content. I can test out different things with my content. I can also take a back seat on my content and just like focus on me. I can spend time with Chase. You know, I didn't quarantine with Chase, but we were in our own little 2-person quarantine pod from like March to April, because my roommate was gone. And so it was just me and him. So we were like figuring out what we could do. We were getting to know each other really well at a really quick rate. We taught ourselves how to DJ and just like a bunch of stuff like that. So we really tried to focus on what we could do and try not so much to focus on what we couldn't do. Of course, there were some times where I was like, man, Electric Forest would be this weekend, and I would get really down about it. So like I would just do what I can to kind of take away that pain and put it towards something else that made me happy. So that was something else I say I was a big lesson, was focusing on what I can do rather what I couldn't do. A year without festivals, you guys, my bank account was looking pretty freaking good. Not gonna lie about that. I've always wondered what my bank account would look like without festivals, and now I know. I do spend a lot of money on festivals. I do get a lot of free tickets, but I also spend money on flights and hotels and stuff like that. So I really just took the time to save my money, which really helped me out from navigating this full-time life or full-time 9-to-5 life to self-employed. So I am grateful for that and like saving my money and getting smarter with my money, using that time to do that. So that has been another thing that was really like interesting, was just like, yeah, you do save a lot of money when you're not going to music festivals or vacations and stuff. I'd say some other stuff that I learned, lots and lots of inner work, you guys. Oh my goodness. It was like the universe was like, all right, we're going to take away no festivals from her. And I'm sure this happened to a lot of you. Let's bring up everything that she needs to deal with. And then that way, when festivals do come back, she'll be good to go. That's basically what the universe and God was saying to me. Because we worked on ourselves so much. It was crazy because I was dealing with like breakup. I was dealing with a car accident, trauma, like that kind of stuff. And then dealing with the pandemic. And then and then I started talking to Chase and like exploring that and everything like that. But I still felt that there was still like some things to work on with myself. You know, like I've had my issues with drinking, and I've had my issues with my own like self-doubt and like self-confidence and like all these things. So I felt like last year was just a time to really tackle that stuff. And I definitely feel like I'm in a way better position mentally than I was last year. Last year I went to therapy, and now I'm going to therapy once a month as like a routine. And I really learned to just prioritize myself and really listen to myself about what I need. Do I need to rest? Is this a time to push? What else? How else can I benefit like my health and stuff like that? So I made choices like getting LASIK. I made choices like getting a copper IUD and coming off the hormonal pill. And it feels really good now looking back, but man, it was like a bitch, you know, because I was just being confronted with all this stuff to work on. And even Emma was like, Ada, I don't know anyone else that works as hard on themselves as you do. And like, I am very hard on myself, and I've definitely learned to have more grace with myself and to be patient with myself. I've learned to enjoy the ride, not rush to the destination. I've tried to calm down that like immediacy feeling in me, that like everything has to get done immediately, or like those kinds of things. Like I always have a feeling of immediacy. Like the moment like something happens, I'm like, oh, I need to post about it, or I need to do this. And like sometimes it's okay to just like chill and let things settle, and then like make a reaction or like respond and like stuff like that. With how turbulent the past year got, I really learned to just like let things settle in and then give my thoughts, or if it was needed to give my thoughts, you know what I mean? So that was like a lot of stuff that I dealt with too. And also like learning what's in alignment, what's not in alignment, what to do when you're out of alignment, and like stuff like that. And that's even with like dealing with like the snowstorm, dealing with like quitting my job and like stuff like that. Like I really felt like I got a good pulse on like, what do I need in this moment, and how can I like better myself in this moment? So I'm really proud about that. But yeah, lots and lots of inner work. Not what I was expecting from a year without festivals. But I mean, when all you have is time with yourself and time to think, that stuff just kind of comes up. Like I journaled so much. I really don't journal as much anymore, just because I'm like in such a good space that like I know my intentions. I know like what I need to do and stuff. So I haven't felt the need to journal as much. But like last year, you guys, I filled up that journal that I had for 2020. I think it got filled up in like July or August. Like it didn't even last me the whole year, because I was just going through so much and so many changes. But it all happened for a reason, you know? So I think when festivals do come back, I'm just going to be right back on it and feeling so good. Like I'm going to be the best version of myself coming back to these music festivals. As for some other lessons, I think I did a lessons from 2020 podcast that you guys can go check out as well. Those have some other lessons in it, but those are kind of like the main things, was just working on myself and saving money and just doing what I can to get by without festivals. So Definitely some big takeaways from that, and maybe you had some similar experience that you can relate to, or maybe you had some other takeaways. If you did, I'd love to hear them. And then also, let's talk about the community. I feel like in some ways we've come together, but in other ways we've been more divided. And it's a very conflicting thing. I feel like when this first started, we were coming together virtually because we were having these live streams, we were doing these fundraisers. We had some really awesome moments in our community that brought us together to, get through the year without music festivals. And it was really awesome to see. I think that energy has kind of faded out a little bit the longer we've been in this, just because I think it's almost been like some pent up energy. We haven't been able to go to a festival, so a lot of us are just going to social media to express our thoughts and like stuff like that. And so we've had those times where we virtually come together, but then there's some moments where I feel like we have been a little bit divided, and there's been a little bit of toxicity on like certain things like EDM Twitter. TikTok can get a little toxic within the community as well. We've also dealt with some things last year that came to light with some of our favorite artists. So that was like another thing on top of everything. Black Lives Matter happened as well, which kind of also brought some division in terms of, brands that aren't being inclusive, or brands that are making big statements that aren't conducive to like what we believe in as a community. So I feel like there was some division that way as well. I try and stay away from like Twitter and stuff like that just because it is really toxic, but it's also hard. I've been on that app for so long. So it's like I'm trying to weigh out if it's worth it even being on the app still. And I've tried to clean my page up, but I'm hoping that when festivals and stuff do come back, that the community will be stronger. I think right now it's just a lot of us have been at home. We've been dealing with this pandemic for a long time. So I think a lot of people are very quick to just post and say what's on their mind, and then people are ready to cancel and attack. So I think that's definitely been an issue with cancel culture, and that differs from people that actually need to be held accountable. But when it's just someone saying something and then automatically a bunch of people are just harping on them for whatever. It will be interesting to see if maybe once we get those live events going again, if maybe we'll all get that boost again to just like be really awesome members of like our community and everything like that. So I'm hoping we can welcome kind of like a new age of the scene with the foundations of what it was originally built on, which is peace, love, unity, respect. So I'm hoping when stuff comes back, maybe we'll get like a revival of that basically. And we'll be leading this new age of festivals and stuff. So that is kind of how I feel. Like, I feel like we've had our really good moments as a community, but we've also had some not so great moments as a community. So that is honestly where I think we are at right now is there's a little bit more of a divide happening again because certain festivals are thinking of moving forward with happening because cases are down, vaccinations are happening. So it's starting to look like events are coming back. And there's a divide again. There's some people that think that this shouldn't happen. And then there's other people that think that this should happen. People have been out of work with festivals, artists, everything like that. And so a lot of people do need to get back to work. But then also, just because cases are down, vaccinations are up and everything, maybe doesn't mean we need to have a full scale event. I see both sides to it. So that is kind of another thing that we have to look to in moving forward. So that brings me to the section about moving forward after a year of no festivals. I don't know about anybody else, but I've had this anxiousness of returning back to normal. I realized in the pandemic that I am a lot more introverted than I thought, and I like my alone time. And I've told people that and they're like, no, really, Aid? And I'm like, okay, you guys saw this. I didn't see this. And so, I do have a little bit of anxiety about things returning back to normal. I do have a little bit of anxiety about like having that full festival schedule again. And I'm sure some other people feel the same way of like, having things return to normal, being in crowds again, like that kind of stuff freaks me out a little bit, but I know it's just going to take time to like decompress and get adjusted to again, similar to how we had to adjust to a pandemic. So I do have a little bit of anxiety over it. I'm not going to lie, of just like people asking me to make plans, or like people asking me to make plans for a festival. And like, you guys know me, before the pandemic, I was very planning. Like, I knew exactly what I was doing. I had like flights booked, like everything like that. Now I feel like I'm going to be a late sender, but I'm still going to full send, but I'm going to late send to everything because I just like have anxiety over like planning things because it might get canceled. So I have my own work to kind of move forward to like combat that, and also start to get used to like people wanting to make plans and like make plans for festivals and like stuff like that. So I'm sure I'm not alone in that, and some other people are feeling the same thing, but we'll figure it out and we'll get readjusted together. And there has been positive news with vaccines going up. People are being able to get vaccinated and cases going down. So I think I saw a tweet that with the amount of vaccines that are in production, everyone should have the availability to get a vaccine by May. I think before they were projecting around July. So we'll see if that actually upholds. I have plans to get a vaccine if it becomes available to me, if and when. I don't have any underlying health conditions. I'm 25 years old, so I'm part of that last group. So probably by the time I could even get a vaccine, we might have herd immunity. I don't even know. So I'm kind of just waiting it out. I don't want to take a vaccine from someone that could use it. So I'm just waiting and seeing if I even need to get one, but we'll see about all of that. But it is really good news that, you know, that's coming around. And then as for festivals, it's interesting. We've seen some big festivals like Ultra, Coachella, Hangout Fest, Lightning in a Bottle. They're all postponing till 2022. I don't know if Coachella is going to try and make it happen in fall, but otherwise 2022, a lot of those festivals are going to. But then we see Ubbi Dubbi and Sunset Music Festival. Ubbi Dubbi is supposed to happen April 24th and the 25th. I will have a video about Ubbi Dubbi up on my channel soon if it's not already up there. That they're moving forward. The news of Texas, that Texas is going to be open now. They're getting rid of the statewide mask mandate. Businesses still do have the choice to require a mask. So Ubbi Dubbi is at 100% capacity, but you still have to wear a mask. They're announcing Clear Health Pass, which I think is going to be some type of verification whether you're vaccinated or you need to get tested and provide those test results. So they're coming out with that info, but I think if there's anyone to kind of make Ubbi Dubbi happen, it would be Disco Donnie to make it happen and to make that first festival back. Despite whatever opinions are out there, some people are happy, some people are not. If it does move forward, Ubbi Dubbi is going to be the guinea pig to having a festival during a pandemic. And I was reading this tweet that felt pretty true, is like, I don't think there's any timeline that could work for the community. I think no matter what, like whatever festival is going to be that first one is going to have so many eyes on it and is going to get a lot of like backlash for it. And so Disco Donnie doesn't care about the backlash. She's like, look, if I can like make this happen and keep a safe environment for us all to rave together, why not take that chance? And EDC is going to be happening right after it, like literally a month after it. So I think it's still a little under 2 months until Ubbi Dubbi can happen. So a lot can happen in that time. And a lot of people are trusting Pasquale, but for some reason they don't trust Disco Donnie. But I mean, I trust the guy. He's been doing events just as long as Pasquale. He's just not as big. And I'm sure he has a really big team and they're doing this stuff with Clear. So that's very interesting to see. So yeah, Ubbi Dubbi might be the guinea pig, but it's really going to be up to us. It's really going to be up to the people that attend that music festival to ensure that this does not get messed up. So really it's really going to have to come down to us coming together as a collective to make sure that the rest of the festivals and live events can return. So if it does happen, that festival is getting a very unique opportunity to kind of make sure stuff would happen. And then EDC would be right after it. We'll see when EDC announces stuff. I'm hoping they're going to announce some things soon because, you know, people need to book stuff. But as of, I think a week and a half ago, Pasquale said Beyond Wonderland at the Gorge and EDC are supposed to happen. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I'm interested to see what other festivals will follow. Because if Ubby Dubby and EDC say they both go off really great, then that's a good blueprint for other festivals to happen. I know Elements Music Festival is slated to happen Labor Day weekend. They were able to pull off an event last year. I think it was around Halloween time. And they did like double rapid test and testing and like all this stuff. And they're doing the same. So that's a little bit smaller of an event scale. But seeing these festivals just at least try to promote a safe event and seeing what data kind of comes back from it will be interesting, because then that could help other festivals return as well. Here in Texas, there have been shows going on. I mentioned I have gone to a couple of them just to see what it was like. Most of them, I had to have my mask on, or I was at a table and could take my mask off. But I felt pretty safe going to some of those events. I don't know about now that it might be at 100% capacity and they might not require masks. I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably going to be wearing a mask for like ever. Despite like the breakouts it gives, like, I don't know. It's kind of nice. Like even at my gym, they're not going to be requiring masks anymore as of March 10th, but I'm going to be still wearing a mask. Just, I don't know. I haven't gotten sick. Like the only time I might have gotten sick, it was because of like being run down and not getting enough sleep. But otherwise, like I haven't gotten sick. So like, I mean, something works, you know, washing your hands a bunch, wearing a mask, like something's working. If I didn't get COVID, I didn't get a cold. I didn't get the flu. So I'm probably going to be wearing a mask. I always wear masks to festivals, but I think even now I'm going to still wear a mask, and even to shows, like I might wear a mask. Like even though if I get weird looks, like I got allergies, you guys. So like sometimes wearing those masks really help. And so we'll definitely be interested to see how like things kind of normal out as we're entering this year, and as vaccinations happen, maybe we'll start to get a taste of some normalcy. But things are opening here in Texas, like I said, but I've been talking to Chase about it. Things have felt normal here in Texas. Like it really hasn't felt much different. So if anything, like probably the bars will feel like a lot more crowded, but we don't even go out to bars. So I don't know how that's all going to work. But I'm getting off topic here, but that was basically everything I wanted to talk about, is just a year without music festivals. So I hope you have been doing well and you've been hanging in there. I know for some people that are in states that are not very open, it must be very hard. And so I truly feel for you. I'm very fortunate that I have had a little bit of normalcy here. So I can only imagine if we were still in the state of like where we were from March to May here in Texas. I could only imagine. So I truly am sending you my love. And if this year has been absolutely awful, hopefully you can find some silver linings and some learnings. And just know that the light is starting to be at the end of the tunnel, and we'll get to reunite with our friends, and we'll get to listen to live music again soon. And it'll just be so great. So keep on holding on. My DMs, my emails, everything is always open if you ever need to talk to someone. I've tried to take everything so positively and just try to do my best. So hopefully this episode inspired you to just kind of do what you can to feel good. And I have so many other episodes on feeling good and what you can do and stuff like that. But if you have any more questions, feel free to let me know. It's been a year without music festivals. It's so crazy, but you know, I hate to say I'm grateful for it, but I am grateful for it. And I'm just hoping that moving forward, I'll be the best version of myself going to these music festivals, and our community will also be the best version of themselves when we come back and when we reunite together at whatever festival or event it may be. So thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Don't forget to send in your submissions for the next episode, which is about festival season 2021 and how you are feeling about it. You can email those submissions to hello@vibewith8.com. I'll be reading those off, so let me know if it needs to be anonymous or not. But feel free to share any thoughts you have, if you're comfortable with festivals happening, if you're not comfortable, and how you're feeling. So like I said, that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and vibing with me. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe the podcast. Thank you so much for the support. I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.